Hello and welcome back to Cymru Rails. This April I took a fantastic trip to Bristol and I decided to make the most of my visit by exploring some local heritage railways. Surprisingly, despite my love for the railways, I haven't actually visited a huge number of heritage lines, only about half a dozen or so, and it's definitely a number I'm keen to increase. So, during my time in Bristol, I challenged myself to fit in visits to 3 unique railways over 3 days. This included the charming Avon Valley Railway, the fascinating Bristol Harbour Railway, and the wonderful West Somerset Railway. It was a great experience to explore these 3 lines, each offering something completely different, and it really made my trip extra special. I'm so excited to share all the footage that I managed to capture and tell you about my experience with each of these railways. This video was made possible thanks to the incredible support from my patrons on Patreon and our channel members. If you're interested in gaining early access to videos while supporting their production, you can find a link to my Patreon in the description below. And of course, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all the exciting railway content coming your way regularly. I really hope you all enjoy this look at my Bristol Railway adventure. My first stop on my Bristol Railway adventure was at the Avon Valley Railway. This heritage line holds a special connection for me, as it's actually located where my partner formerly used to live, and it's a place that she's always spoken fondly of, so I really wanted to visit here first. For those who aren't familiar, the Avon Valley Railway is a dedicated heritage railway, working hard to bring back steam to the scenic Avon Valley. Based near Bristol and Bath, their efforts began with a dedicated bunch of volunteers in the 1970s, and today, some 50 years on, 3 miles of track has been relaid, locomotives and carriages restored, and the sound of steam can once again be heard along the Avon Valley. During my visit, there was actually a Farmyard Friends event happening, with a chance to meet animals from the Second Chance petting farm, including donkeys, goats, and sheep and giant rabbits. This was actually lovely to see during my visit because the railway definitely is benefiting from these events because it was so busy when I was there. It was also an extremely hot day when I was there, and there was also a cycling race happening on the same day, so it was really busy because there's a path that runs alongside the track where the cyclists and walkers are able to go alongside the track, which definitely draws a crowd whenever the engine's passing. Running on this particular day was the delightful Samuel Fox & Co. 060 tank engine, Jennifer. This charming steam locomotive was in operation, and I actually had an incredible opportunity to experience a footplate ride on her. It was already an incredibly hot day, but being in the cab with the firebox and the engine made for a very intense experience, I'll say. I don't quite know how the drivers and firemen manage it on a hot day like that. I can only imagine how they're able to do it. It was a pleasure to witness Jennifer in action and experience the railway firsthand on the footplate. The volunteers at the Avon Valley Railway were all incredibly welcoming and clearly dedicated to preserving this wonderful piece of railway heritage. Now, the Avon Valley Railway Heritage Trust, like many heritage railways, rely heavily on the support of its visitors and the generosity of the public. So they've actually launched an appeal recently called the Bounce Back Appeal to help strengthen their finances after a very unfortunate incident involving a former staff member who engaged in a significant fraudulent activity. This has sadly impacted their ability to undertake planned restoration and maintenance work. If you'd like to support the Avon Valley Railway to help them recover, please consider making a donation through their website. I've put a link in the description below. Additionally, if you have any information regarding the individual involved, Nathan Hudson, who is also wanted by the Humberside Police, they ask if you can report it via their contact page. Every contribution, no matter how small, will be hugely appreciated during this challenging time for the railway. Despite this unfortunate situation, my visit to the Avon Valley Railway was a really positive one, and it's clear that they are passionate and dedicated volunteers which will ensure the future of the railway. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the footage that I captured on the Avon Valley Railway.
You've got like slip-ons on the other side.
You get arrested. Just start me off with it anyway.
The next day took me to a very different railway experience, the Bristol Harbour Railway. Originally, I had thought that they weren't running steam on the day of my visit, a small error on their website that thankfully was cleared up by a Facebook post. This is a standard gauge industrial railway that historically served the bustling wharfs of the docks of Bristol. At its peak, the line had around 5 miles of track connecting the floating harbour to the Great Western Railway main line at Bristol Temple Meads. In 1978, a section of this historic line was revived as a heritage railway. Now operated by the Bristol M-Shed Museum, they utilise about a mile of the preserved track that runs alongside the River Avon. What makes this railway so unique is seeing a steam train operating on this former industrial setting. Locomotive engineering was a significant industry for Bristol for over a century, and the M-Shed has engines from various local builders. On the day I visited, the star of the show was Henbury, a powerful 060 saddle tank built right here in Bristol by Peckett & Sons in 1937. Henbury was a vital addition to the dock's growing fleet of over 40 engines. Interestingly, when diesels took over in the 1960s, both Henbury and another Bristol-built engine were selected for preservation. After some time in storage, Henbury was overhauled and proudly participated in the opening ceremony of the Bristol Industrial Museum in 1978. Since 1978, Henbury has carried hundreds of thousands of visitors along the Bristol Harbour Railway. They use open wagons, which have been cleverly fitted with seats and lockable doors for passenger operation, and our train also had a classic towed brake van at the rear. During my journey, I was actually lucky enough to sit right next to Henbury, where I could feel and hear the locomotive working hard, something I absolutely loved, and as a big fan of the smaller industrial locomotives, it was a treat. It was a fantastic experience, and I'm so glad I had a chance to visit and see a steam locomotive running in this urban, unique environment. The M-Shed itself was also well worth exploring, and I would definitely recommend a visit to this lovely railway and museum along Bristol Harbour. Their operating days are clearly listed on their website, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the footage that I captured of Henbury running along the Bristol Harbour. My final railway adventure while based in Bristol actually started with a short train journey from Bristol Temple Meads down to Taunton. From there, I made my way to the West Somerset Railway, which proudly holds the title of the longest standard gauge heritage railway in the UK. Sadly, the weather wasn't on our side that day. That didn't diminish my excitement for finally visiting this renowned line. We arrived at the charming Bishop's Lydiard station, where we were immediately greeted by the impressive sight of the GWR 2800 class number 2807 getting ready for its departure. We didn't have much time before our train was due to leave, but the journey that followed was wonderfully long. It definitely left me wanting more, and I'm already hoping to return in future so I can properly explore each station along the line with a more extensive timetable. As well as number 2807, GWR 2900 class number 2999, Lady of Legend, was also running this day, and I spotted plenty of other locomotives stabled in sidings and busy yards of this extensive heritage railway. Once we reached the end of the line at the delightful seaside town of Minehead, we had a brief opportunity to stretch our legs and take in the surroundings before it was time to reboard for the return journey. The journey itself was fantastic, although it really flew by. Each station we passed was so beautifully maintained and had its own distinct, authentic, preserved character. I really wish we had more time to hop off the train and properly explore each of them, but I completely understand that with such a long journey and such a long line, the extended stops at each station just isn't feasible. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed my trip to the West Somerset, and I really hope to return when I can dedicate more time to exploring its full length and all its wonderful stations, perhaps with a gala or something. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the footage I managed to capture of the railway.
Yes, I am. I've got Seb training me today.
Yeah. Nice?
Yes, very good, yeah. Yeah, he's keeping a tight leash on me. John's making himself a sandwich,
Yeah, that's right.
And that brings us to an end of my railway adventure through Bristol. I hope you've enjoyed seeing these three very different but equally fascinating heritage railways, from the charming Avon Valley Railway, with its dedicated volunteers and beautiful scenery, to the historic Bristol Harbour Railway, with its unique industrial setting and hard-working locomotives, and finally the expansive West Somerset Railway, the longest of its kind in the UK. Bristol truly offers a fantastic range of railway experiences. I highly recommend visiting these lines if you ever get the chance, and if you're keen to see more railway adventures and preserved lines, be sure to subscribe to the channel for weekly uploads. And if you have any thoughts or memories of these Bristol railways, please leave a comment below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Hwyl fawr.